forgot that half the people in this podcast didn't actually really vote for that much.
I wanted to. I remember you emailing it where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, it's your last time, and I was like, wait, but I thought I already said it.
Oh. Did you vote for something, Christian?
I half-heartedly voted for Mass Effect 2 because there was nothing really great last year.
Yeah.
I like Mass Effect 2, but that's really...
I voted for an independent adventure game called The Whispered World, which I'm shocked didn't win. I guess no one else played it.
I've never heard of it, actually.
Wonderful comedic adventure game, 2D point and click, very, very old school. The developers are German, I think. It just recently got translated and released here. It stars a clown, a sad clown, depressed clown, who has to save the world. But it's just a really, really funny game, really charming, really beautiful. Just a total package adventure game. With the only thing I could say bad about it was that like with many adventure games, a lot of the puzzles didn't really make any sense, and I had to look up the answers. But I was having so much fun playing through the game anyway that I didn't really even see that as a detriment. Instead of me getting frustrated because I couldn't solve a stupid puzzle, it was more like, okay, I've spent 5 seconds on this, now I'm going to look it up because I want to see what happens next.
No, I'm looking at pictures of this game. From the pictures, it looks very nice. It looks like a good game.
It is. I mean, it's just a very happy, pleasant, fun game. I would recommend it to anyone.
It looks like the Freddy Fish style of game where there's kind of animation over a drawn background.
Yeah.
Like cartoon style animation.
Yeah. But it's not a kid's game. Well, I mean, I guess it can be played by kids, but I don't think it's intended for children.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
It's not explicitly for kids.
Yeah. And, I mean, another thing I really liked about it, I've played a lot of adventure games that have come from other countries, and the translations are usually god-awful. They just, like, I ran into that problem with Runaway. There was this other stupid game that, like, the translation was so bad that they would just like randomly have capital letters and random punctuation marks in the text. Like it was just, but the localization here was just really strong. Like it wouldn't occur to you that it was made in a different language originally. So I thought that was really cool. Anyway, that was my game of the year. I don't think anyone else voted for it. I think Lizzo might have voted for second or third place for game of the year because we played through it together, but. We're probably the only people on GameCola who actually did play the game.
I'm surprised Heavy Rain won our game of the year. Cause
I was too.
It was really close. Like if one person, for example, Justin, had voted, Heavy Rain probably would not have won.
Yeah,
so maybe this is that classic situation where if you didn't vote, you can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah, like well. In brief, the way our voting system works is I ask everyone to rank their top 3 choices, and when I'm calculating the votes, first place gets 5 points, second 3, and third place 1, and then Heavy Rain won by 1 point.
Ooh, who was the runner-up?
I believe it was Red Dead.
Oh, I see.
I think it was Red Dead and Mass
Dead,
Effect. Yeah. We're both right behind it, but I can double check that.
It was Red Dead and Fallout New Vegas.
There we go.
I don't know. My game of the year probably would go to Red Dead Redemption just because of the way the story was just handled, how it progressed. It just everything up until and after like the Mexico area was really fun. And really just that's the one reason you keep playing the game, to just see what happens next with John Marston. So
I quit halfway through. I liked the game. I really did. I think it was a really great game, but it's the same game Rockstar has been putting out for the past 10 years. And I don't know, I'm kind of tired.
It's Cowboys.
This time, and if you buy an upgrade, zombies.
Of course it's zombies. Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired of zombies too. This is coming from the Manchester, New Hampshire leader of the zombie attack. I run the zombie walk in the city, and I am tired of zombies.
Please tell me what that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. A lot of cities have zombie walks where everyone just randomly at some day of the year dresses up like a zombie and just walks through the streets.
Yes.
Wow.
And so That
awesome.
happens here in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's actually a secret that I'm the leader of it, but I don't think anyone listens. Anyone that is part of that listens to this, so it's okay.
Yes, anyone that listens is part of this. Like we do have a lot of listeners in general, right?
I caught you.
Your secret is out, Christian.
No.
Okay, so that was everyone's game of the year. Who else still has a topic?
No, I brought. No, I don't. Not really. I don't really have any news anybody wants to talk about. I suppose any gaming news.
Well, the price for the 3DS was just announced a couple weeks ago. Does anyone care about that? I actually had that on my list of things to maybe talk about. It was released that it's going to cost $250, which is a lot more than their other portables have cost at launch, at least.
Almost twice as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the most expensive portable, because I think in the 90s there were a bunch that were like super, super expensive and nobody bought them and they failed completely. But, so yeah, what do you guys think about this price?
I think it's I think it's way too much, considering its main selling point is three-dimensional graphics, which is basically just a visual trick.
It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick, yeah. Like it's not even a. I'm probably gonna get hate for this, but it's not even a really effective gimmick, because all it does is trick your eyes into thinking it's a three-dimensional image. You can't interact with a three-dimensional image. You only can see it. So. I'm
surprised, and it costs more than the Wii does now, I think. Because I think the Wii's down to $200, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So.
I think it's too expensive for me. I wouldn't pay that much, but I think for a lot of people it won't be. Just because right now we're in a market where people will pay like $300 for their iPhone, and then someone will come out with a really big, cumbersome iPhone, and they'll be like, I'll pay twice as much. So, I don't know, where people are paying $600 and $700 for like iPads and stuff, just these silly things they can play with, $250 might not be that bad.
Yeah.
To them, not to me.
Yeah, yeah, but that's Apple. Apple has
that's true.
Apple has a religious following. I mean, Intel's a big following, but I don't know if they can push that.
That's true. That's like saying
outside.
Scientologists are more than happy to put all their money into the collection plate at the Church of Scientology. It's because you're talking about one cult.
Yeah.
I also think it's a little surprising because I think Nintendo's usually a little more reasonable about their prices than that. Like the Wii was only $250 at launch, which I mean, it sounds like a lot to people who don't play video games, I guess. But I mean, compared to the PS3, which was like $600 at launch, I mean, I'm just surprised that they would charge that much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think one of the rationale I've heard was that it's a lot, but with all those features you get with the 3DS, it really makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with that is, okay, where's my cheaper version that doesn't have all those features that I don't want then? You know, like, I could give a crap about the pedometer, for example.
There's a pedometer built in?
There's a pedometer. I mean,
that's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't walk.
I don't know. It's just, I would be okay paying less for one that just played video games, perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
I guess you just keep the old one.
Yeah.
And you never play the 3D.
Yeah.
Tisk.
Then I'll never get to play Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright.
Oh yeah, that is going to be 3D only, isn't it?
That's actually the only game that's really on my radar for the 3DS right now. But that's just because I have really weird taste. That's not necessarily indicative of a poor launch lineup.
They did that on purpose.
Not gonna lie, Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton. I'd probably buy a 3DS for that.
I'm a big fan of Layton.
Yeah.
See, what I'm going to do is, if I can talk my fiance into this, I want to put it on our wedding registry.
What?
3DS.
Wow.
I tried very hard to talk my wife into letting me put video games and stuff on the registry. She wasn't too keen on it.
Oh.
I'm gonna push for it.
But I think in retrospect, she regretted it because we could have had a lot of awesome games. Okay, she just said no. So I was wrong.
Yeah.
We'll see. You'll put 3DS on the registry, and then your grandmother will get you a 3DO.
Cool.
I hope not. That would be much more difficult to find. I mean, I obviously wouldn't expect just one person to spend $250 on that for me, but maybe people could go together on it. I don't know. It's a thought.